Texas Governor Greg Abbott honors a slain San Antonio policeman and others at a memorial service for fallen officers. In the first project of its kind in the Mexican state of Tamaulipas, archaeologists and forensic anthropologists exhumed the remains of an estimated 350 victims of the drug war. And San Antonio Express News Metro columnist Brian Chasnoff stresses the need for transparency in the city's decision to not seek the 2020 Republican National Convention. I'm Chance Dorland with your Express Briefing for Tuesday, May 8th. Subscribe to this and other free content at expressnews.com/podcasts. And get each day's top news and sports headlines delivered to your inbox at expressnews.com/newsletters. 30-year-old San Antonio police officer Arturo Moreno says he thinks about his slain brother every day. And this week, he received a medal honoring that brother, the late Officer Miguel Moreno III, from Governor Greg Abbott at a memorial ceremony for peace officers. Monday, the governor promised that the state would remember not only those who died defending their community's safety, but also the families left to mourn them, noting that there is no such thing as a routine day for a law enforcement officer. Officers Miguel Moreno and Julio Cavazos were shot June 29th of last year near San Antonio College as they worked on a car burglary detail. After attempting to investigate two pedestrians, one shot at the officers. Moreno was hit in the head and pronounced dead the next day, while Cavazos survived a critical shot to the chest while returning fire with the suspect, who after being injured, committed suicide rather than being taken into custody. Members of law enforcement agencies from around the state, including the San Antonio Police Department and Bexar County Sheriff's Office, took part in Monday's ceremony, with the San Antonio Blue Line Choir singing the national anthem. The memorial comes amid national tension on some law officers' interactions with suspects, particularly minority suspects, where force is used or there seems insufficient provocation for an officer to draw a gun. In an effort to identify victims and bring closure to their families, archaeologists and forensic anthropologists in the Mexican state of Tamaulipas are now exhuming the remains of an estimated 350 victims of the drug war. In a state dotted with mass graves and the highest number of disappearances in Mexico, the project has rekindled hope and stirred traumatic memories. For years, families searching for missing loved ones in Tamaulipas have done so amid warring drug cartels and authorities indifferent to their plight, sometimes complicit in the disappearances. And as the victim totals mounted, local authorities often buried unidentified victims in municipal cemeteries. But under the administration of Governor Francisco Garcia Cabeza de Vaca, in January of this year, authorities quietly broke ground in Miguel Alemán, a border town of around 30,000 residents, and built 50 storage units in the ground, each with the capacity of 10 sets of remains. Exhumations began in mid-April and will continue later this year in Reynosa, followed by projects in Nuevo Laredo and Ciudad Victoria. And those family members who visit are able to have blood drawn to be compared with the genetic material of those exhumed. And before Mayor Ron Nirenberg was elected to lead Alamo City, as a city councilman, he often emphasized the virtue of transparency in governance. In 2014, after business leaders and local officials, including Nirenberg himself, met privately to discuss the Vista Ridge water pipeline, he told San Antonio Express News Metro columnist Brian Chasnoff he was trying to move the conversation from the boardrooms into the living rooms of San Antonians. But now in 2018, Chasnoff says Mayor Nirenberg's choice last week to convene the city council behind doors to discuss whether the city should submit a bid to host the 2020 Republican National Convention was significantly out of character, further noting that the council's controversial decision to not pursue the event likely violated the Texas Open Meetings Act, regardless of whether the council arrived at that decision by vote. 4 days before the closed-door meeting, Councilman Greg Brockhouse raised questions about Nirenberg's approach in a memo to the mayor and the city's attorney, noting that the city council must hold the discussion of the topic in open session. But now the city claims that as the decision to not pursue the event was made by the president and CEO of Visit San Antonio, a nonprofit that coordinates bid submittals for the city, no violation of rules occurred. However, as recently as Monday, Mayor Nirenberg characterized the decision as the council's, telling San Antonio Express News Metro columnist Brian Chasnoff that, quote, "The council as a whole decided it was not worth it to move forward with the bid." Chasnoff believes a decision not to do something is still a decision, and as elected representatives, the council should have deliberated in full view of the public. And that's your daily San Antonio Express News briefing for Tuesday, May 8th. Subscribe to this and other free content at expressnews.com/podcasts. I'm Chance Dorland.